Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, my group will present about organizational development issue in Kulim District Education Office. I'm Nosolia Binti Azhar. My student numbers is 26105. My other group members is Nur Izati Binti Ahmad, Nur Hafizati Insyirah Binti Amir, and Muhammad Suhaidan bin Muhammad Yusuf. For introduction, organization development is a professional discipline of social action as well as a scientific topic of study. Organization development is a broad term that encompasses a vast range of activity with seemingly unlimited variation. Organization development can take many forms, including executive team development, municipal structure transformation, and employment enrichment in a manufacturing field. Furthermore, the study of organization development involves a wide range of issues, including the effect of change, organizational change strategy, and the factors that influence organization development efficiency. Next, there are many purposes of organization development apply to an organization, such as the organization need to in the process of changing the structure, process, or strategy of an entire system. Next, organizational development focus on the application and diffusion of behavioral science knowledge and practice. Uh, Organizational development also important for managing climate change. Next, uh, organization development also uh, important in the planning, implementation, and the subsequent enforcement of change. And the last, to improve the organization effectiveness. Therefore, we have chosen a public organization that is a Kulim District Education Office because we want to know the issue and problem faced by the Kulim District Education Office and what intervention can be recommended to resolve the issue and the problem faced by the Kulim District Education Office. We also conduct an interview session with one of the civil servants in the Kulim District Education Office, namely Mr. Khairul Anwar bin Muhtar, as the planning assistant of the District Education Office in Kulim, because we want to get information in more detail on issue and problem faced by the Kulim District Education Office.
Okay, I will continue our presentation with the diagnosis part. The diagnosis process can be divided into input, transformation, and output. There are three inputs that we gather from the interview. The first is improving the efficiency of an organization, where action steps could be taken in terms of bring up in administration, introducing new management system and processes, reducing wasteful expenditure, and improve employee motivation. Mr. Khairul Anwar bin Mokhtar stated in the interview that the Ministry of Education should improve their efficiency of delivery by restructuring personnel to improve completed tasks in a balanced manner. Secondly is the significance of information communication and technology, ICT. The government has mandated that only 10% of senior workers from finance, administrative, legal, and IT departments in a company can be permitted to work in their offices from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for a maximum of 3 days a week as the movement control order continues to impose across Malaysia. And on the other hand, Mr. Khairul Anwar, who we interviewed, has never anticipated to work from home, and he has never met on working utilizing an online tool such as Cisco Webex, Zoom, or Google Meet. As a result, higher level leadership is critical in moving the organization. And last but not least is organizational culture. It is related with interpersonal communication, especially important in the workplace since it shapes how people interact with one another. Next, we move to the transformation part, the second stages of diagnosis. Next slide, please. Okay. Firstly, Basin 2020 defined restructuring organization as a process of reorganizing and organizational ownership. legal, operational, or other structure in order to make it more organized and lucrative. Mr. Khairul Anwar also advised that as a result of the workload dumping, the organization plan can be restructured, and this action is efficient in completing each work assigned by superiors. Um, Besides, the Lewin change model defines the change process and advocates three phases of change, which are unfreezing, moving, and refreezing. The unfreezing phase demonstrates the necessity to shift from a traditional method to an online strategy. And the second part is moving process where employee needs to deal with a lot of uncertainty and fear of making mistakes. Last but not least, the refreezing phase where the approach of sustaining the new working and evaluating the effectiveness of the new method. And work from home encourages them to communicate with one another, to share information and important items similar to traditional method of working, just in online platform only. And last but not least, developing and implementing a plan with clear objective we can work forward and measure is required to create a successful company culture. The third stages of diagnosis is output. There are three output that we acquire, which our organization will become effective and efficient because operational costs may be reduced if a company downsizes as a part of restructuring. And as a result, the cost of maintaining operation within the retail network and the company in particular tends to fall. Secondly is the enhancement use of ICT. This is because the installation of work from home allows employee to save money on petrol. Furthermore, they can protect the health and safety of their family members from the fatal virus, particularly if they have elderly parents who are suffering from a serious disease. And the third is positive work culture. It will aid the company in accomplishing its objectives and goals. The impact on the organization is increased worker and management productivity, demonstrating a positive workplace culture.
When the PKP was implemented on 18 March 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic, the learning changed the learning landscape. Therefore, online learning is implemented as a learning alternative because the traditional learning system that has been implemented so far cannot meet the education needs at the time of PKP implementation. Changes are implemented in education to ensure the life of an institution so that it can evolve in step with the change of the current era, not because of personal preference or because they are regarded outdated. Furthermore, adjustments are occasionally made on purpose to change the comfortable environment of employees so that they can be more productive and competent in their work. The management and administration of Malaysia education system can be made more efficient and effective by improving the quality of change in education to ensure the efficiency and efficiency of the change programmers adopted. The change that occur must be managed in methodical manner. Various problems arise is an organization of country itself when this pandemic hits the world today. Kulim District Education Official (PPD) also have their own problems. The writer had the opportunity to interview one of the officers in the organization, and there are some problems faced by PPD Kulim. Among the organizational problems touches upon was the excess workload due to lack of officers. This is because it's an company or workplace employees cannot accept the limit of SOP set by the Dutch government because they want to curb the spread of COVID-19. This has led to the next dumping of work will burden the individuals who have to work on that day. According to the individual, this is increasingly causing dumping of work and even causing the officers of duty to have to do more work than they normally do. If this continues to happen, it will not only reduce the motivation in the officers, but will also cause the officers to have health problems because they cannot get enough rest. If before the COVID-19 pandemic, they also felt the need for more officers due to the heavy workload during the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced them to work with a smaller numbers when in PPD. The problem of shortage of officers is not a foreign problem for an organization. When this problem occurs, then dumping of work will occur. This is because not all employees have the ability or skill to do other works. This needs to be resolved immediately by adding more officers or restructuring. The second problem is the time constraint in the Kulim District Education Office PPD. This is because most officers will perform tasks outside the PPD or fight work such as monitoring school and others. This is because some officers do have such duties. Furthermore, as the exam season approaches, some officers will be busier than usual. Uh, in addition, the time set by the government is also one of the time constraint factor in the PPD. During the lockdown, most Malaysians were ordered to work from home. So most of the PPD employees also work from home and it slightly affect their work. In addition, the Ministry of Education Malaysia does not understand the need for education officers. This will further complicate the situation in addition to a lot of workload. If the addition of officers is done by the Ministry of Education Malaysia (KPM), then this problem will be solved and can avoid the problem of a lot of workload from continuing to occur.
To the next part. Intervention recommendation, where there are three recommendations that we discuss, which are performance appraisal, increase the number of employees, and strategic planning. Performance appraisal can use performance appraisal to build a plan for employee development, such as extra training and increasing responsibility. Secondly, increase the number of employees, where district education office in Kulim are facing problems with shortness of staff because many parents are confused with the online learning method. So the increased number of employees is required to overcome with the issue. While strategic planning to manage workplace diversity, which are effective communication, encouraging employees to work in diverse groups and be open-minded. Next, we move to the next part.
Okay, for output of intervention, firstly is among the benefit of increasing the number of staff is to increase productivity. Employee productivity can also lead to greater fulfillment. Employee develop a sense of purpose when they are productive and have the opportunity to contribute to the greater organization. This goal can motivate people to strive for excellence. Then there was an improvement in customer service. High level of productivity frequently transfer into greater customer service through public-facing communication and interaction. This is because when employees are doing well, they are engaged in the activities that will provide each customer with a complete and pleasant experience. Next, the ability to focus on having better activity is one of the advantage of official restructuring. Always to always try to eliminate any inefficiencies that could hinder the reorganization process. This means that associated parties must be aware of what people are doing at this time in order to decrease the risk of danger. Duplication and redundant activity, on the other hand, can be simply eliminated with staff restructuring. Additionally, it improves efficiency and communication. During restructuring, non-essential layers of the management chain are usually removed. This increases efficiency and remove productivity barriers by opening new channel of communication. Then there's the possibility of greater operating efficiency. Restructuring is an important step that organizations take to help them survive in the long run. It is beneficial because new organization after reorganization are more efficient and cost effective. It also have increased the value of the organization. The most significant benefit of strategic management is that it exists businesses in developing better strategies by allowing them to choose strategies in a more systematic, logical, and rational manner. This advantage might be classified as financial or non-financial. According to a number of studies, companies that use strategic management concept are more profitable and successful than those that do not. Alertness to external risk, a better grasp of strategy, and so on are examples of non-financial gains. Next. Okay, next is obstacle of change. Change is the change of existing thinking pattern, technique, and approaches into new thought pattern, method, and approaches. It is related with the installation of a system or new procedure in the workplace with the goal of improving the smoothness of work compared to previous system work. Lack of support for a specific solution is one of the obstacles to change. For example, the Director General of Public Service, Tan Sri Muhammad Khairul Adib Abdul Rahman, said the department given new assignment need to find alternative to solve the problem and not to increase the number of employees. He said the increase in the number of employees should be the last resort to complete the task. This is an obstacle for organization to increase the number of staff. When the organization lacks staff, the assigned task will take a long time to complete. In addition, this can also put pressure on staff in organization because they have to do a lot of work due to a lack of staff. This also happens because the government has to bear a lot of costs when there is an increase in staff. So because of that, they think that organization need to optimize the available resources. Then come to implementation of new technology. Implementing technology is one of the few things that causes as many difficulties of personnel at all levels of a business. The way people work is changing as a result of new equipment, tools, and workflow. Without a well thought out plan, the disturbance can actually reduce productivity rather than increase it, resulting in frustration. Even if new technology automates system and workflows requiring fewer steps and simplifying the job, this can happen. Situations like this arise frequently as a result of a requirement or desire to get new technology up and running quickly in order to reduce training and transition time. The most effective rollouts are those that are done in stage. Organization can address the problem by gradually adopting new technology over weeks or months. Then there is employee resistance. Change is something that few of us enjoy. While this is acceptable, a company must evolve in order to stay dynamic and competitive. Change resistance can begin anywhere in an organization. It's possible that executives will refuse to spend money. Department may not be aware of greater organizational requirement as long as their system functions. It's possible that key stakeholder and decision maker won't recognize how to change will help the organization as a whole right away. A change in the routine can add to the resistance. Employee may be concerned about the future of their position and employment. Employers may continue to oppose after the change if they believe the new workflow make their jobs more difficult. That's all.
Right, for conclusion, organization development is an effort to bring benefit to the organization by improving financial performance and quality of life through the use of behavioral science or social science. So, organization development is important in analyze the public organization that we choose, which is District Education Office in Kulim. Furthermore, using the organization development intervention approach provides several benefits to the District Education Office in Kulim. However, intervention performance on the organization will be effective if the organization is willing to change, able to change. The culture context that the intervention performance must be adapt to the culture of the environment and the ability of change agent. Last but not least, organization development must be practiced in an organization to ensure that to ensure the smooth running of the organization in the long term. That's all for us. Thank you.